Okay.
Hi, Victoria Beelik here with deathandlove.net, author of Watching My Parents Die. This week I had a clinic and it was called Just Death, and I addressed a couple things. I addressed why people fear death. I addressed what people fear most about their loved ones dying. And then I talked about taking care of elderly parents or terminally ill loved ones, and things that they can expect and things they can do to make it a little bit easier during that process. One of the main parts of my clinic was to identify why people fear death and also take that to another level and talk about why they fear their loved ones suffering. So what I did was I made a question list, and I asked people to write on a piece of paper what they fear most about death. Nothing. That's perfect. That I'm taking care of all I have left behind and it's going to be a pain in the ass. Nothing. How I would die. Leaving my family behind. My family will suffer. Being left alone without something comfort. I don't know what that means. Putting my loved ones through sadness, pain, not existing anymore, leaving my sister to navigate on her own. These are all reasons people fear death. Then I asked them to write on a piece of paper, what is it that makes them fear the death of a loved one? Living without them, that I don't have as much patience and grace as I should. Not being there, and any unforgiven apologies. I don't want them to fear death. That they are scared. That they will suffer. I got 2 for that. Not being able to talk to them before they go and watching them suffer. Go ahead and put that on pause.
Go.
So here we have 2 parts of my clinic. 1, what they fear about death, and 2, what they fear about the death of a loved one. The first step to address either one of these is to acknowledge that death is imminent. So during my clinic, I talk about what is it that you can do to overcome your fear of death. And in order to help others prepare for a terminal illness, or even help others prepare to redefine their fear of death and make it easier for them emotionally, you have to accept death. It's part of life. So how do you accept death? You look at all these different alternative ways. Look at the stories of people that have passed on and come back. Look at how many stories there are about spirits and afterlife. I tell people to take a look at that. So to start, they have to overcome their fear of death. Once they overcome their fear of death, they can help their family and minimize their suffering. One of my services that I offer is advanced planning and family agreement, let's call it. It's not just about developing a will or a trust or having all of your finances and assets prepared. It's also about identifying what your wishes are as a terminally ill patient, or if something were to happen to you that may require some decisions to be made. That is more than paperwork. That is family. That is the family understanding what the wishes are, and that is the family agreeing on those wishes. As an end-of-life doula, these are very sensitive subjects. They're emotional subjects, and it's difficult for families to discuss this because they fear death, which is not uncommon at all. But it is so important to plan and to communicate that and make sure that everybody is in agreement and it has full understanding of what those wishes are, because when it comes to the end, if that hasn't been done, it causes pain tenfold of what it would have if you hadn't planned ahead. If you'd like to know more about these services, please feel free to reach out to me. Victoria Beelik, B as in boy, E-E-L-I-K, at deathandlove.net. I'll be happy to get some information from you, provide you with a quote, and make it much less painful for you and your family when the time does come. Thank you so much for watching.
Nice.
Here's the video. What people fear about the death of a loved one and what people fear about death. Look at all those notes. Look at all those fears. What if we could help just by educating and communicating and providing some tools. What if we could cut those fears in half and get all these out of the way? And by educating and addressing death for yourself, you take this and you cut these in half. There will always be fear and there will always be concern. But what if you could take that and cut it in half? How much time, trouble, and emotional concern would that save you? Give me a shout. Let me know if you would like to get some information on my services. Once again, it's Victoria Beelik, B as in boy, EELIK. And remember, if we prepare ahead of time, we'll be able to minimize some of the suffering.